right, I just got off of exit 31 I-24, and I'm gonna head down to the Grand Rivers LbL. This is the trace. It goes down to the LbL, and we're gonna go down to the canal first, that connects Kentucky and Barkley Lake. We're gonna visit the canal, and when we leave the canal, we're gonna go visit the sailboat marina and a little park there on Kentucky Lake. Then we're gonna cruise through Grand Rivers, check out Patty's and all that stuff, and then we're gonna cruise over to Kentucky Dam. We're gonna check out everything over there, and then we're gonna cruise over to Barkley Dam and check all that stuff out. That way, when you come and visit here, if you watch this video, you'll already know your way around a little bit. Like I said, we just got off of exit 31 I-24, and we are heading south on the trace. I think it's Highway 453 maybe, but it's called the trace. Right over there to the right, that's Jim Smith Paving Company. They've been paving all the roads around here for years. And right now we're going over Highway 62 and 641. They're combined together at this point. And if you go to the west here, you'll go over Kentucky Dam. You'll be at Kentucky Dam, Kentucky Lake. And if you were to turn left, it would take you right to Kentucky Dam, which we're going to be back here. You know, we'll probably be back here in 20-25 minutes or so. Then we'll go over to the, like I said, we'll visit Kentucky Dam, and we'll visit the boat ramp over there, show you how to get around in the beach. And then we'll head over to Barkley Dam. We'll go to a boat ramp that you can launch on Barkley Lake, and also the boat ramp below the dam. So we're gonna have a pretty good little drive around right here. Now, I'm from here. I grew up here. I used to be a commercial fisherman. I used to drive over here every day. So I'll be able to point out a lot of stuff in this video. And this is also my very first filming video driving around in my pickup truck. And I tell you one guy that I really admire on YouTube, and his name is RVTVer. And if you want to watch some like professionally made videos, that's the place to go right there, because that guy is fabulous. I wish I knew he says his name in there sometimes, but he has a drone and he gets out. Like today, I'm going to get out and film some of these spots, and then so this is going to be an edited video. And if you're watching, thanks for coming along. This, like I said, this is my very first drive around video. Today is December 26, 2025. It's the day after Christmas. And I live up in Weirton, West Virginia now, which is about 30 miles from the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. And I come down here to see my mom, and we have a garage down here. I got a boat that I'm working on, a 21-foot Carolina skiff. I bought a new 115 Mercury to put on there. So right here, if you turn right here, you'll go over to the sailboat marina. You turn left right here, and it takes you over to Patty's. You know, 1880s Patty's restaurant. That's one of the most famous restaurants in America. They have like the 2-inch pork chop that melts in your mouth, which I know how to cook, but it wouldn't be very polite of me to tell you how to do it on here. But you know, if you send me an email, I'll tell you how to do it. There's a couple little businesses over there. The Wooden Wave, that's a bicycle shop, believe it or not. You know, they do a lot of bike riding down here in Land Between the Lakes. So we're only a couple of miles. We're only a couple of miles or less from the canal. Yeah, so they built the canal to connect the two lakes together, Kentucky Lake and Barkley Lake. And Barkley Lake, Kentucky Lake was built first, and it was kind of a little bay, and that went down in here. So you can look up online how the canal was built. It's pretty neat, and I'll explain most of it when I start shooting video down here when I get out of the truck. Right here it says Canal Overlook at the Lyon County sign. We're entering Lyon County, Kentucky. When you come back here, you'll be pretty excited to see the canal is just a man-made river that connects Kentucky and Barkley Lake. And there's a lot of fish in the canal. It has a gravel bottom. There's a lot of smallmouth bass. I used to fish for mussel shells, so when there's a lot of mussel shells in the canal, and I used to watch people catch all kinds of smallmouth bass. It was pretty cool. Looks like we are the only person at the Canal Overlook, and those restrooms right there, they're locked up. They don't work. It's a shame because the reason why they're not open is because of vandalism. People just never quit vandalizing stuff. I don't understand it. I don't particularly vandalize items. So we got somebody else in here to visit. That's cool. Just let them pick the spot they want to park at. Yeah. At least there's only two of us here. No sense in, crowding this place out or nothing. Boy, ain't this beautiful. My goodness. Yeah, so we got now the truck at the canal. And there's one I'm filming with. It's an Ace Pro 2 made by Insta360. And I think it's going to do a pretty good job. That's what I use to make all my videos, my bicycle riding videos with. So we're here at the canal. It's got a nice parking lot. There's my truck, my Tacoma. There's where we came in at. There's a nice bench. Now you can walk if you want to go fishing. You just walk down these steps and you're ready to go. So here we go. Over there is Kentucky Lake, and that's one of the bigger it's one of the bigger man-made lakes in the area. You can Google it, and it's about 1.5 miles wide right there. So the canal, you just come, barges and everything come down through here. And there's we didn't go over that bridge, but that's the bridge. It goes into Land Between the Lakes. So as soon as you go over that bridge right there, over there is Land Between the Lakes. And there's a big circle drive over there. We may just go ahead and hit that circle drive too, because it's really cool. And way down there, as far as you can see, is Barkley Lake. So it's pretty cool. And the canal is a wonderful place. It's a great place to fish. Right down here is all kinds of rocks. You can catch tons of bluegill down here, and all kinds of fish. You can use a lure. You can catch some bass down here. Do all kinds of fun stuff. So yep. So this is the canal, and we'll see the canal again. There's a couple of spots over there that I want to park at. And when the canal was built, right up here where the sandy spot is, and if you look at pictures, there was they built a dam right there, and they dug behind that dam and they dug all this out. So when Barkley Lake was flooded, they dug all of this this part before the lake was flooded. Barkley Lake down there on the left side, way down there. So when the water got even with this dam right here, they just took a dredge and they just pulled up there in a boat and they just dredged it. They just scooped up the dam. It was a rock and earth dam. It wasn't made. They just started digging and left a part, and that's how they done it. And if you look for you know, the Kentucky Lake Canal pictures on the internet, you'll see that dam right there. Alrighty, well let's go check out another. Man, we're leaving the canal, man. There was a truck right behind me. You probably won't ever get to see it, but yeah, I almost backed into a truck. That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, now we're leaving the canal overlook. And we're gonna make a little loop over in LbL before we head down to Grand Rivers and check out the sailboats and patties, 1880 patties, and then we'll head over to Kentucky Dam. This bridge we're going over is pretty big, and there are a lot of people have actually jumped off this bridge, but man, it's tall. Being that I've been on the water a lot here, there's always water moving down there. Very rarely will you ever go down there and there's nobody, and there's no water moving. The water generally goes from Kentucky Lake to Barkley Lake. But if Nashville, Barkley Lake is made from Cumberland River, so Cumberland River's in the middle of the lake where they built Barkley Dam and flooded all the fields and a few towns. But if they've had a lot of rain down that way, the water will go from Barkley Lake to Kentucky Lake. Yeah, we're going to make the first right here. Now we're in LbL and we are going to hit the scenic drive. And this drive is like one way, but this drive is nice. I mean, really nice. So this first little pull off here, you can pull in here and go fishing and do whatever you want. And right straight across over there on the other side, that's where we just come from. That's where I was parked at. So that's the canal. And we're just gonna hit this loop. There's also a mountain bike trail down here. You can turn left right into here and park at the mountain bike trail and walk. You can walk either the trail that's in the woods, or you can walk the loop, like this gentleman right here. He's out here walking. Looks like he's got him a nice camera too. Yeah, you come down here, you don't want to miss this loop. I wasn't going to film it, but you know what the heck. So here's another big parking lot. Picnic tables. The lake is out there. You can't see it with this camera, but you can see all the way to Kentucky Dam from here. But we'll be seeing the dam the next stop I'll look at. I'll I'll zoom in on the dam. I'm using two different cameras. To make this video, I'm using my Insta360 on the dash. It's an Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And I have it in double zoom mode. Because the way my Tacoma is made, it's hard to get an angle where you don't see the hood. And I've done a couple of practice videos where you can see the hood while I was driving, so I think I'm just better off this way. But I'm going to improve this angle in the future. I do believe. I believe I can. So, all right. Here's another pull off. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful view of the lake here. If you can see there. You can probably see the lake down there. I wanted to zoom up to the dam, but I haven't been back here in a long time, and the trees are in the way. Somebody else doing the loop, the loopy-loopy. Even though you can't see it, you're right on the lake, and it's a beautiful view. Now here's another parking lot. We'll make a little circle here and see what we can see. Yeah, I'm still having trouble. I used to have all these little trees, and right here, if you could see through there, you can see the backside, you know, the upside of Kentucky Dam. You can even see where the spillways are at, but the trees are too thick for me to even zoom in there. I'm also making this film with my phone. And my phone makes pretty good videos, so. See, look, here's even another lookout. It looks like there's a little bit less vegetation right here. You can see the lake down there, but see all these little trees and stuff. I can't zoom up there. Well, that's okay. We're just gonna rock and roll. Right. This loop isn't very long. I don't know how far it is. I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't show you more, because I can't just hold my phone up, you know, in video, you know, while I'm driving. There's another really good lookout. Yeah, there's a lot less vegetation down here. But I still won't be able to go all the way up there to the... It's all right. We're going to the dam anyway, so if you watch this video, or you could just fast forward till we get to Kentucky Dam. Yeah, land between the lakes, there's about a 50-mile stretch where the two lakes are just the 2 Tennessee River and Cumberland River is just a few miles apart. Well, they built Kentucky Lake. They flooded it in the summer of '44. And then they decided they wanted to build Barkley Lake. And they went in and they bought all that land. They bought almost all the land between the Tennessee River and Cumberland River all the way to Dover, Tennessee. They forced it on people. They forced sale, moved them, made them all leave. And the last person to leave was a lady, and she wouldn't leave her house. Well, somehow or another, they tricked her to leave her home, and they burned her house while she was gone. How crazy is that? When she come back, they handed her a check and her house was gone. You can look that up on the internet. I don't know the whole story. I think they might even shot her dog, but I'm not real sure. I hope they didn't anyway. So if you turn right here, you'll just go deeper into LbL. It's about 50 miles down to Dover, Tennessee. And it's a nice drive. But we are heading back the way we came. So it'll be about a mile up here to where we turned on to go around that I call it the Kentucky Lake Loop, Canal Loop. Nickel Branch down that road, that's a beautiful place. Big campground, nice boat ramp. You can camp with an RV back there, with a camper, or you can just stay in a tent if that's what you would like to do. A lot of gravel. When you go down there's not a beach, it's a gravel beach. But the gravel's not very big, but you know, if you wear Crocs or you just want to wear like an old pair of Converse tennis shoes or something, you can walk around the lake, swim, have a good time. All right, there's where we turned in to make that loop, and right now we're going back across the canal. Between the rivers, Memorial Bridge. All right. We're going to head down to the sailboat. You can turn in right there. That's the first turn in you can make. They'll take you through Grand Rivers. You'll just go by a bunch of houses and stuff. We'll cruise that whole strip. I mean, I'm making this video, you know, you can use it as information if you want to come here, or you can, you know, watch the video because you're just enjoying it. But mostly I am making it for the information. That's like my bike riding videos. I ride whole trails, like I filmed the whole 150-mile Great Allegheny Gap from Cumberland, Maryland to Pittsburgh. And you know, you can go on there and I just filmed the whole trail. You can see the whole 150 miles on there. All right, now we're going to turn here. We're going to go to, I think this is called Lighthouse Landing. And we're going to go to, yeah, Lighthouse Landing. And we're going to go check out the sailboats. And there's also a really nice park down here, which I'll tell you about. We'll check out these sailboats real quick. Here is the this is the Kentucky Lake Sailboat Marina at the Lighthouse Landing. You know, I'm not real sure exactly what they call it. Now we got an interesting item over here. This is the very boat that was in the movie The River Rat with Tommy Lee Jones. So if you've ever seen that movie, it was filmed basically in Paducah, Kentucky. This is the boat that was in the movie River Rat. It's a really good movie. Tommy Lee Jones was good in there. All right. We're gonna go around here to this little park because there's a really nice walkway down there. And I'll tell you about it when we get there. I've been down here millions of times. They just put that boat right there for decoration, that sailboat right there on the ground. But I do know they probably had to take the keel off of it because most of these boats have about a 6 foot long keel with the weight in it to keep it from rolling over. And I'll show you an example of that right down here. Yeah, you can rent all kinds of boats, right? You can rent these kayaks here at the Lighthouse Landing. Go kayaking. Now, I don't know if you can rent a sailboat or not, but here's a sailboat right here out of the water. You can see the keel down there at the bottom. That keel down there, that part, that fin sticking out the bottom is probably basically solid lead. It probably weighs 3,000 pounds or something, 4,000 pounds. A lot of people come down here to this park. You can walk from here. This is Kentucky Lake. We're right behind Kentucky Dam. And there's always people down here sitting in their cars or walking. See those barges over there. And then you can see that's the bridge down there on the other side of the dam. But that walkway going out there where that green canopy is, years ago, there was a pile of rocks out there and there was no levee to walk out there. Well, several people went out there and they'd climb on the rocks and they'd float a cooler out there and, you know, drink a lot and stuff. So they had some fatalities, I don't know how many, where people would drown either swimming out or coming back. So, Patty's restaurant, which, you know, they make a lot of money there and the people who own it are really nice. They kicked in some money, so they built this levee going out there and you can just walk out there. Super nice. So you can walk from here or ride a bicycle all the way to Barkley Lake. So right now we will just take that walkway, we'll just drive beside of it in the truck and we'll visit Grand Rivers. There's a lighthouse over there. Lighthouse Landing. You can walk. You can walk over there to that lighthouse or ride your bike. Yeah. So the sidewalk changed sides of the road right here, as you can tell. Yeah, being this is my first driving around video, it's being kind of interesting, to be honest with you. I wish my camera was focused down a little bit further, but you just have to look down a little bit to see what's going on today. Hopefully I can get the camera raised up higher But I also have it right in front of me, so I don't want to get it too tall where I'm trying to look around it, but we'll make it. It's almost impossible to eat at Patty's now. From what I understand, if you decide you want to eat at Patty's on the pier, you need to make an appointment. Right here on the left, just went by it, it's another restaurant. And well, I don't guess it's yeah, it's Mr. Bill's presidential room. Mr. Bill has a restaurant over here, and he's one of the owners of Patty's. So Mr. Bill, I don't know what the difference is between Mr. Bill's menu and Patty's menu, but all right, we're just following that. We're in the middle of Grand Rivers right now, and we're going to follow that trail to Barkley Lake. The trail has moved over there to the right of us just a little bit. It's just like 100 foot to the right of us, but we'll see it again before we get to the water. I didn't exactly take the road I wanted to, but that's okay. We'll come back out the road we need to be on. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, and the reason why, it's one way, so I'm going to turn up this way. So you can see the sidewalk there, right at the bottom of the screen, where it says one way. And this water right here is actually a bay in Barkley Lake. So this water is actually Barkley Lake right here. And the trail ends right down there before you go into the railroad tracks. But this is Barkley Lake right here on the right. There's a tunnel over there if you want to come back here on a boat. So that's pretty cool. You can walk from lake to lake, and it's probably less than a mile. I'm not sure how far, but I'll see if I can get down there on that road. We'll make that little loop down there. It's no big deal. So we're coming back into town. They have a lot of shows and stuff in that building there on the left. They have a lot of country shows, singing shows, you know, like old, you never know who's playing there. Somebody that used to be famous, not so famous now. But I tell you what, that's this store right here, this Grand Rivers Antique Mall right across the street we're looking at. That's one place you want to go in right there. There's a Honda 70. There's 4 or 5 antique motorcycles in there. You're no telling what you're going to see in there, so you want to go in there. See, in that walkway, it turns left right here. We're gonna. This is how we should have came right here. Look at this. You can rent bikes right there. All kinds of bicycles you can rent to ride on this trail and ride around. So, you know, if your family, you know, if y'all come down here and want to stay a few days, if you got little kids, there's a place you can go up there and hang out. They have basketball, full There's a full basketball court right there, outdoor. There's a big playground. I'll show you the playground. You can see the big playground right there. There's kids down there playing a ginormous green, purple dinosaur. And this is a sidewalk, and you can ride your bike on it. I was just to the left here on the road. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, right here is, we came from the left right here, and we turned in here and went down. Yep, right here is where we turned, right here on Barkley Lake. Looks like an interesting snowman over there. All kinds of property for sale around here. It's expensive. You can see that sign. We'll turn up this dead end road since there's all kinds of lots for sale. Look at that. Big snowman. All kinds of Christmas stuff right there. You can see there's 3 lots for sale right here. You can see the signs. There's 3 more lots for sale right here. So if you want to build a house down here, there's plenty of lots to buy. Now you may not have plenty of money to buy it with, but driving around these roads back here and looking at all these beautiful houses is also pretty fun. See, Arnold has all these lots for sale. Both sides of the road, right here on the lake. Right here by that sidewalk. You can walk from here to the sailboat or ride your bike over there. Yep. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Heck, there's another lot for sale right here. Well, there's a camper right there, but I guarantee you that camper was put in there before. You can't buy one of those lots and put a camper on it, I don't think. I think they've been it's zoned. There's some campers and stuff here, but all this stuff was here 50 years ago. I mean, I'm 58 years old. I used to know somebody who lived back there in that green and white trailer, so I've been going back there forever. All right, we're back up to that antique mall that I suggested you visit. We're gonna make a left and look at the rest of it. Is this guy coming straight across? Coming over? Yep. Whoop. Down here on the left used to be an IGA, and it looked like a steamboat, like a Mark Twain boat. There's the Village Market right here on the left. It's really nice. There's it used to be a Dairy Queen there on the right, but now it's something else. There's the Grand Rivers Motel right there. You could get you a room. Across the street here is some kind of, it's Between the Lakes Tap House. That's a little barbecue joint, and they sell beer down here now. So right up here on the right, right across there where that white truck is, that's where that bicycle shop is that we seen when we drove by there. Back around 1980, there used to be a shirt shop in this little place right here by that silver car. You could go in there and you could pick out a picture, and they would heat transfer it onto a shirt for you. It's called the Shirt Shack. Got a lot of shirts there back when I was 1978, 1980, 82. Heck, I got pictures of me wearing those shirts. 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Yeah, right here is a wonderful grocery store. They got a grocery store in there. The Village Market has a grocery store. It's a liquor store. And they also have a little restaurant in there. You can order breakfast food, fries, hamburgers. And this used to be a Dairy Queen, but now it's Craig's Dairy, and it's actually a log cabin. Antique stores right here on the right, and this is where you turn in to go to Patty's 1880s. We'll just drive through the little drive-through here. No big deal. I don't know. They may park your car here for you now. They may have valet parking, but that's where you go in right there. And there's a golf cart. It looks like they travel. I guess they use that golf cart that has like 8 people can ride on it. They probably would. You can go walk around these premises. There's so much cool stuff back there that you just would not believe it. Right. Lots of people walking, and you're allowed to ride your golf cart down here or your side by side. Back down here behind this pink tractor, there's all kinds of stores and old antique stuff. You can just go up there and walk around for like hours. You can get your picture taken on that pink tractor. They have a little store there for that. And that's about it. That's probably another antique store over there. And these stores have real antiques in them. I mean, we're not talking about stuff from you know, China or something. These people go out and get real antiques. There's another big antique store right here on the right, and they're hardcore here. But the people who come here are you know, are people who can afford to buy stuff. You know, people travel. People will drive 3 or 4 hours to come here to eat lunch on the weekends. People come from Nashville, St. Louis, Evansville. 1880s Patties is and their food is delicious. I mean, we're actually going to visit some of Kentucky Dam. I meant Barkley Dam before we go to Kentucky Dam. Then we're going to come back and go to the other side Barkley Dam, where the video is going to eventually end at. Well, it looks like somebody's put in a junk pile. Man, that is one big boat right there. My gosh, look at that. Commercial fishing has gotten really big on Kentucky and Barkley Lake again. I'll tell you why. It's because of the Asian carp invasion. These guys are going out and getting 6,000–7,000 pounds of Asian carp every day in gill nets. And the fish markets around here are buying them. And exactly what they're doing with them, I'm not real sure, but they're obviously selling them. And the Asian carp come from China, and they say that the American Asian carp that grow in the Mississippi River Valley are way bigger and taste way better than the China ones. And supposedly, I know that down in Ledbetter, Kentucky, that lady, there's a Chinese woman opened a place down there, and she buys them. And she cuts their heads off, guts them. She like some kind of super fast freezing system. And she ships them to China for people to eat. They give about a quarter or 30 cents a pound for those. So if you go out and get 6,000 pounds, you're going to, that's, you know, it's $250 or $300 a thousand. That's a real nice visitor center right there on Barkley Lake that you probably would like to visit. You know, you'll make about $300 a 1,000 pounds. So if you get 6,000 pounds, that's an $1,800 payday. Man, these guys are buying they're having people build them 40-foot long aluminum boats with 200 horsepower Yamaha motors on there. It's insane. Yeah, you always leave it up to people. The more they make, the more they buy, and I guess that's okay. All right, you're looking at Barkley Dam right through these trees right here. And we're on the side where the locks are, where the barges lock through at. So the lower part is the Cumberland River, which goes down to Smithland, Kentucky. And the upper part is Barkley Lake. Now it's gated off now. 911. They came out here and they put up gates. On 911, on the day I came over here, and they just had military had it blocked off. You just couldn't go in there. And the military stood there until they put them new gates up. So you can't go back. Used to, you could go back there and watch barges lock through, all kinds of stuff. So now we're going to the first boat ramp behind Barkley Dam, and this is Barkley Lake. If you got your boat with you, come around this way. There's a commercial fisherman right there. He's got them. See, he's got two 2x12s beside each other, 3 axles. So if he gets 6,000 pounds of fish, he can pull right up out of there. Corps of Engineers, which they own Barkley Lake. This is a big boat ramp right here. They keep a lot of their construction stuff right here, like these barges sitting here and all them flats. They got cranes on there, so they can go out and work on anything. They can go out and work on a bridge, work on the dam. They can go out and repair a bank on the lake or the river. I know y'all think it's kind of weird the way I'm making this video, but these two, Barkley and Kentucky Dam, are so close together. It was only logical that I leave Green Rivers and come back this road. And when we come back from Kentucky Dam, we're going to go to the other side of the dam. Yeah, you can see the dam right down there. That's the locks on this side. It's a real good view of the river right here. So that's below the dam. That's Cumberland River. That's Highway 62 bridge. And you just go down this river 30 miles, you'll come to Smithland, Kentucky. And that's where it dumps into the Ohio River. And if you watch the beginning of How the West Was Won, you'll see where this river is dumping into the Ohio River. Good deal. So we're just going to run down here. Then we're going to turn left, and it's only about 3 miles over to Kentucky Dam. So we're going to check around there. And yeah, there's a set of steps right there. You park right there on the left, walk down that hill. Or, I mean, walk down all them steps. You'll be at the river, and you can just I have to say that the river is really low. We're gonna go through this parking lot. That way you can see the dam from this side, and I'll show you where we're gonna end up at. All right, we are on the west side of Barkley Dam right now. We're driving around making a video. There's the locks. When you go through those locks, you're in Barkley Lake. We're standing beside the Cumberland River right now. Those are all the spillways. When that lake gets too high, they open all these gates up. There's the turbines that make the electricity. And I can tell you there's only one turbine running up there right next to the bank. The water's really low. All right, we got a fisherman down here. Let's find this boat. Oh, there it is. they're going pretty fast. I'll tell you what they're probably after down there is hybrid striped bass. You know, they can get 50, 60 pounds. And when this video ends, we're going to end up right over there. We're going to end up on that side. There's a walkway that goes down there. So we'll be over there on that side at the end of this video. But we're getting ready to go over to Kentucky Dam and video. And then we're going to end the video on that side of Barkley Dam. There's the boat ramp. This guy just pulled out over there. It's not a sunny day. Danger, water subject to sudden rise and turbulence. New fishing restrictions. No fishing or anchoring in shaded area. Oh, I see. That's it. That's inside the lock walls. Oh, restricted for Asian carp research activities. Yeah, and the Asian carp have really invaded. So that is saying they don't want you. That shaded area is right below these locks and down to the end of that lock wall. All right. We're going to head over to Kentucky Dam. All right. We're rolling out and heading to Kentucky Dam. Yeehaw, cowboy. I'm having a lot of fun making this video. All these bathrooms. See, that used to be, they called them bathhouses, and they were really nice. You come down here, and they had running water. But people destroyed them, so they had to close them. So we're leaving the west side of Barkley Dam, and Highway 62 it's just right up here, and we're going to turn left on 62 and it'll take about 5 minutes to get over to Kentucky Dam. You can rent a cabin over there. All right, here we go. There's a dollar store there, and there's all kinds of boat dealerships. You can get your boat worked on. What I'm excited about is, all right, the best fish store is Fisherman's Friend. They have a website, Ken's Fisherman's Friends Tackle Box. That is the best tackle store in the world. They have a website. They make most of the stuff in there, so you definitely want to check that out if you're into. They really make a lot of catfishing stuff, snagging. Tons of stuff. Pelican Restaurant over there, that was open for years and years. They say when they first opened that, because this is old 62, When they built I-24, it took a lot of traffic off here, but they said they had, the upstairs was basically a casino. They had ladies you could hire up there. Pelican Restaurant. It's a shame it's gone. And right there's the trace. That's when we first got off I-24. We went across that bridge right there. 22 miles to Paducah, 2 miles to Grand Rivers. All right, we're to Kentucky Dam, and we're getting ready to go across the bridge. It's right below the dam. Then we're going to turn up and drive across the dam. We'll go down to the dam, below the dam where the turbines are and all that stuff. The water is, oh my gosh, it's going to be a treat down here. You'll be able to see everything. The water's so low. There's a pier down here that used to be part of the railroad. They just took the bridge off the piers and left the piers down there. When the water gets low enough, you can see them. Turn left right up here. Highway 62 used to be on the dam, but they built that new bridge and they took the road off the dam. But you can still drive on part of it to get down there. But you can still walk the whole dam, which you'll see that. There's people out there walking today. Why wouldn't they be at 68 degrees? Yeah, that sign says, you know, bicycle path parking right here. So you can just pull up right here and you can really see how big that lake is from right here. My goodness. So now we're driving on the dam. We're gonna go down here. Yeah, a few years ago they put new turbines in. Of course, the turbines just work. It's an impeller that the water hits while it's falling, and it turns it, and it turns them big generators down there. So this was flooded in '44. So like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they still had the same turbines and everything. So they built more efficient turbines, and they pulled all the old ones out, rebuilt each generator, and I guess they put all new bearings and everything in there. And so they left one of them here so people could see it. Where all them cranes are at over there, they're building another lock right beside of the old lock. and it's a super chamber. It will hold a whole barge, 5 barges wide, 5 long, and the tugboat, the engine barge. Well, all of it will just be able to pull in there at one time. Right now, they have to break them apart. It only holds 3 wide and 3 long. See, they used to have restrooms down here, but people destroyed them. So they do have porta potties out here. You know. Right here is that turbine, the big stainless steel turbine. But we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna take my other camera and get it up. I'll get it up close. So we're below the dam now. That's the bridge that we just came across right there. And this is the lower parking lot. And they built a really cool fishing pier down here. Yeah, isn't that cool? That's a bridge. We're underneath the bridge that. All right, that's the camera I'm filming with to drive around, and we're gonna get out and check this out. Isn't that bridge? Isn't that? Those bridges are so cool looking. So when you get out of your vehicle, this is what you see. There's the dam. There's a parking lot right there. You can drive. We'll probably drive over that parking lot. Why not? These are all the spillways here, and we're gonna go to the other parking lot and look at the turbine, of course. And this pier is a fishing pier. As you can see, there's a gentleman out there. He's down there fishing on it. Looks like he might be flying a drone or something. I don't know. Don't matter. Do whatever he wants. Yep, that's the railroad. Here on the right is the railroad. And the left side, that's the bridge that we was on, and this is down the river. We're looking down the Tennessee River. This is the Tennessee River. Tennessee River makes the. There's my truck. There's the camera that we're filming with right there. Check that out. There's a barge going down there. Those 2 round things there are called cells. They're spelled C-E-L-L-S, like a cell in your body. They're not like a sailboat, they are cells. And that's usually, barges, those 2 there are used for barge parking. And that's the I-24 bridge, forgot to mention. You see all kinds of vehicles on that bridge. It's kind of weird we're not seeing a lot of trucks today out there. That's all right. You see all that pound of rock over that big mound of rock? That's what they dug that out. That's a lot of stuff from building this new lock, which we're getting ready to go look at. All right. Look at this. People are writing on this. Why are they doing that? There's how a lock works. Yeah, you just, the top one, the door's open. The middle one, The boat goes in there, the doors close behind them, they let all the water out, then they open the lower doors. And this is where they're building the new lock chamber. That's what all this is. Oh my gosh, look at all this erosion right here. Somebody should do something about this. I'm just kidding. All right, let's take a look. All right, this first chute here is the original 1944 barge lane, and you can see the locked doors right there. And they're still in use, and they're going to be. But right next to it, where all the cranes are at, is where they're building the new super lock chamber. Yeah. I tell you what, I'm going to show you where the door is going to be at. You see that line right there on that big wall? That's where the new lock doors are going to be, right there in that hole right there. That hole right there is where the barges are going to go in and out of, and there's going to be a door right there. All right. You feel educated? All right. Well, let's walk back over to the truck and go snoop around some more. And they make a lot of electricity here, so there's all the there's all the transformers and the power lines going out of here. And do they have the freaking power lines? Look at this. All right, we're gonna get in the truck and go. All right, we're heading up to the next parking lot. Right, that guy was really nice, wasn't he? All right, let's get to the upper parking lot at Kentucky Dam checked out. All right. When I was a kid going down to this pier, I loved it. Just go down these steps and you can go down there and fish off the pier. And that's the fishing pier right there we was at, and that fisherman is still out there. Look at that. That's the bridge we came across on. Yes, it is. Those are all the spillways. And I'm going to tell you something. See that big square rectangular thing on the top of the dam? That is a crane. And that crane, right below that crane, you'll see those silver things. And those are like doors. And that crane will pick that door up and let the water out of the lake go over the spillway. So there's like 3 levels of that. So he'll take the tops off, let so much water through, And if it's a real emergency, they'll take all three of them, pull all three of them up. So that one crane, he goes across there and works all of those. All right, this big silver crane here that looks like one of those walkers out of Star Wars, it's also a crane. And it services the 5 electric turbines that are in this dam. This is Kentucky Dam, makes Kentucky Lake. And right over here is one of the turbines that came out of the dam. So water would come down a tube and hit this turbine, and it would spin. And it would spin, it was connected to the great big generator, and it would spin the generator and make electricity. And there's 5 of these in there. And what they done, this was put in there in 1944, and they put some better design ones in there, and updated everything. And you would think, you know, all the water running over this, and look, it did put some pretty good, it does have some wear, that's for sure, but this was in there for about 50 years or longer. You can see some pretty cool stuff in that where it had eroded a little bit. It's kind of weird. I always noticed on this one that it eroded so far that it didn't do nothing out there. So I was wondering if the water was actually hitting that tip or not. There's no way to know for sure without talking to a scientist. See, this one's the same way. There's all the transformers, whatever. That's a big old transformer station right there. Then behind there is all the power lines leaving. Used to, before 911, you could go over there. And you could go in that door right there, and you could go downstairs to that big room, and you could see all the turbines. Like I've actually been in there and I watched the tops of these spin, the generator part. But since 911, they didn't let people in there. And then kind of when they relaxed it, that's my truck right there, the government and these people who work here, it was so convenient for it to be closed, they just never opened it back up. So there you go. So now we're going to head over to the other side. I'll show you where we're going. There's a pickup truck sitting there. That's where we're going. We're driving to there right now. Let's go. Let's drive over to the other side of the dam, of Kentucky Dam. We are on the east side of Kentucky Dam right now. Now we're going to drive over to the other side. We're going to go to a couple of parking lots. We're going to go to a couple of parking lots and the boat ramp. We're going to go to the lower boat ramp into the Tennessee River. And it's just about 22, 23 miles by water down to Paducah, Kentucky from here. And about the same by driving. There's those cranes I was talking about. Yeah, it has a cable that comes down and hook to that gate. They're called gates. They can there's 3 levels of gates, and pick up a gate and the water will flow over them. Yeah, this dam it's about 2 miles wide. It's wide. Yeah, this Highway 62 was up here, and they built that new bridge, and they got the, from what I understand, they really wanted the railroad tracks off of the dam, and then they kind of wanted so they just built a new railroad bridge and a new car bridge. But what's really cool is it made it into a great bicycle trail and walking trail. You can walk down there. There's a beach, and you can. And they've also built a trail all the way over to Calvert City. You can ride from here to Calvert City on your bicycle or walk. Yeah, that guy there, he was on his phone or something. I don't care. You know, if there's somebody sitting there and they're not moving, I'll give them 2 or 3 minutes. Don't make no difference to me. All right, we're heading over to that other parking lot where we seen that truck. Even though you can't see it, there's a big tree farm back there, hundreds of acres of. They grow every kind of tree you can dream of. If they can get the seeds, there's the railroad tracks. If they can get the seeds, they'll grow them back there. We're going to turn right here to go to where that truck was at on the other side, on the west side. There's a ginormous campground right here. Hundreds of camping spots. There's also a wildlife habitat area. It's nothing but grown up swamp. We're now going back under the railroad tracks and the original bridge that that we first came over. Pretty cool. Back at the dam. Right. To get up there where that truck is at, I think you might have to do a little bit of Up there's where that truck was at. We're not going to go all the way over there where that truck is. I just thought we were. We're just going to go to this parking lot. All right, now we're on the west side. We're going to get out and check this out. So you can tell there's another fishing pier on this side. Isn't that nice? Look at that. That's a fishing pier. That's the first parking lot we parked at over there. That guy's probably still fishing. There's the turbine blade. There's the dam. And there's that truck we was looking at from over there. It's pretty cool. There's actually, look at this, there's stairs right there. You can actually walk up those stairs and get back up there where we drove across at. It's all open. And if these gates are open, these lock doors are open, you can walk up on there and walk out there on that guardrail. See, there's a guy fishing right there. Look at that. You could go right there and watch all that water rush by. And there's always a bunch, there's a big swirl right here. There's always a bunch of fish in there. Like you could just gig them and stuff. They're everywhere. All right, so that's this side. We'll get back in the truck and go look at something else. We're gonna go to the boat ramp. All right. To get up there where that truck is at, you gotta go down this little gravel road right here. No big deal. We're gonna go down it. It's all open. It's legal. I think there might be a little jump here to get into the parking lot. All right. There's the truck. Wheels over there. They changed this a lot. This used to be they just left what was here that was built like back in 1944 or whatever. And I find this spot right here kind of interesting because there is an old disabled parking sign right here. Now we're gonna head down to the boat ramp, and then we're gonna head back over to, we'll go by the beach, Kentucky Dam Beach. Then we'll go over to Barkley Dam and conclude this video. This could be a nice little video. And another thing I'm going to like about having this video is that when I get homesick, sometimes I don't come down here for a long time and I can just watch my video. It's only about a mile over to the boat ramp. So this boat ramp, when it's busy, could be a lot of fun. It'd be a good place to go to and film all day. I'm sure you get some funny stuff. Like I said, there's a ginormous campground right there. I'll show it to you. Look at the, oh, it's gated off. I don't know if they use it this time of the year or not, but you go in there, it's ginormous. It's the Kentucky Dam Village Campground. My stepdad was about 15 years older than my mom. And he had a daughter that would come over here every year for their 2-week vacation and camp at this campground. We'd come over here every night, and I'd bring my bicycle and I'd ride around. They'd show a movie every night on they had a big movie screen. I seen Old Man in the Sea. I seen all kinds of movies. And I'd still come over here even after I got my driver's. I came over here almost my whole life. My stepdad married my mom when I was a year old, so every one of those years we came over here. So when you come around the campground, you got to go to the right to go to the boat ramp. There's not even a boat ramp sign, so there you go. I've seen it flood down here that even this was underwater. It's hard to believe. It's pretty cool that they've got a couple of porta potties down here now. I never liked that when I was a kid. And the wheelchair potties too, man. I'd like to take a wheelchair porta potty and make it into like a little apartment, sleeping area. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, look at here, we got somebody coming out of the water right now. Look at this. That is so cool. They're coming out of there with a Dodge Dakota, man. Yep, there's the boat ramp. Look at that. Did y'all gentlemen have a good time today?
Yeah, relaxing time. Didn't get no big.
Yeah, it sure is warm though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for yelling out at me. Good to see y'all guys out. Looks like y'all are having a good time.
Oh yeah. Anytime fishing's good.
That's right. And I could talk. I'm a talking machine. I ain't kidding you. We'll take another little look at their rig right here. There they are. Look at that. I think there's a good little parking spot right over here we could hit. Well, there's the dam again. When I back up here, you'll be able to see the dam and everything again. Go real slow right here. Yeah, there's a sign here that says between the railroad bridge, there's the boat ramp again, between the railroad bridge and the dam, you have to wear your life jacket full time. You know, and I used to just like wearing my life jacket. I used to be a commercial fisherman. Oh, look at that little hole right there. I used to be a commercial fisherman, and I didn't like wearing my life jacket. But now I know that you can fall down and hit your head and stuff. And you know, it's a good idea. All right. We went to the boat ramp. Now let's go to the Kentucky Dam Beach, which will be above the dam, not very far from here. It wouldn't be right to make a video without going by the beach, right? We're leaving the boat ramp. Yeah, they used to, there's a fence right here. They used to try to fence that campground off. They didn't want nobody sneaking in. Used to, they would charge by the person. Like if you wanted to go in to see my sister camping back there, though, they would charge everybody. Then they'd drive by and make sure that you weren't camping or something. You know, they'd almost do like a person count. Man, they were evil. They probably run some business off back in the day. I'm waiting for a car right now. But now they're almost begging people to come here. That's really sad. But the thing about it is, when you're at this campground, you're not on the water, you're just at a campground. I mean, it may only be a half a mile or a quarter of a mile to a boat ramp, or a mile up to the beach on the lake, or a mile up to the Kentucky Dam. But the campgrounds and stuff that are on the water, those places are booked up for years. That's where we went back to, right below the dam. We've seen that truck. Going back underneath the railroad. Now we're going to go up here and we're going to visit the beach, and then we're going to drive back over to the other side of Barkley Dam and call this video good. There's the tree farm again there on the right. I'm starting to realize that making these driving around videos, I'm not able to show you everything I want to. I almost wish I had a camera on my head, but I don't know. That really won't work either, because you just can't zoom in on stuff like you want to. You can't film this as good as you can just driving around and looking at it. Filming this is only going to be so good. All right, we're already up to the beach. I tell you what, this is one beautiful freshwater beach. Kentucky Dam Beach is a fine, fine place. Yep, there's another boat ramp here. We'll go check out the boat ramp, no big deal. Then we'll go to the beach. So now we're behind the dam, back up on Kentucky Lake, and the Tennessee River makes Kentucky Lake. There's a fishing jetty pier right there. You'll be able to see it on the way back out. Yeah, when you come off the dam, you can ride right around here. And there's another bike riding trail that goes across these levees and it's also a walking trail. And Kentucky Dam Marina's over there. There's like 1,000 boats, and there's about another 1,000 sailboats over there too. So you can, a lot of people who own these boats and stuff, they'll ride their bikes and stuff and come over that levee and come over here, and they'll go walk across the dam and enjoy themselves. Right over there next to the dam is where that's the beach over there. And if you sit over here very long, hundreds of people drive through here. Look, like right now we're behind. Golf carts are legal here. You can drive your golf cart here all you want. Don't have to have a helmet, be strapped in or nothing. You can just ride around all you want. And here's the boat ramp. We already drove by the boat ramp. I didn't say nothing, but we'll drive here where you can see it. There's a bunch of black ducks down there. You put in here and you just go over there. There's a hole over there in the levee that you can drive right through. There's a lot of fishing jetties around here. I don't know. There's just man-made levees that go out and you can fish. It's really cool. You know what? I can actually drive down in there where you can see it, looks like. Yeah. Yeah, you can see that jetty right there. Then there's thousands of sticks drove in the ground, in the water, out there in the water. So when the water comes up, that's all fish attractors. I mean, big time fish attractors. And even on the right side, you look down in there. Look at that. Now we're going to the beach. I've been going to this beach all my life. I mean, Mama would bring us over here like when I was 4 years old, 4 years old, probably even earlier than that. All right, let's get out and take a look at the beach. Only going to be getting out of the truck one more time today. Look how beautiful this is. All right, over there is the dam. I mean, this whole levee here is the dam, but you can see that's over there is where we was at. See the big towers. And then over here, that's where that first sailboat place we went in. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's 2 miles all the way over there. And if we can get this big tower, see that tower right there? That is where the canal is at. And we were right beside of that tower when we took that very first loop. Right beside that sailboat is the canal. You can just turn and go right down the canal over there. Look at that boat. I'd love to have that as a rowboat, man. That is so cool. Okay. Well, here's the beach. All right, we'll go back to the truck. We're going to leave the Kentucky Dam Beach. We're going to go back across to the other side of Kentucky Dam into back to Barkley Dam. And on the other side of Barkley Dam, we're going to conclude this video. So this is going to be like a 2-hour tour of around here. And yeah, you know, a few people or a bunch of people, who knows how many people might watch this video. But if you want to learn all about, a lot of people dream about or think about coming to see LbL, Patty's. A lot of people want to come to Patty's to eat. And they like to visit the dams and stuff like that. There's other stuff to see around here too, but we're hitting the main stuff. Like, we're hitting the stuff that, like, if you drive down from St. Louis 3.5 hours, you could come down here, go eat at Patty's, drive around a little bit, and go home. Have a good time. We're getting on 62 East. Look at that, land between the lakes, northern entrance. That's right. We already hit that northern entrance today. That's pretty cool. That family just got out and they're going to walk across the dam, and it's, you know, it's 70 degrees and it's December 26th. How sweet is that? Here we go. We're going over the bridge again. And I know, I don't think you can see a whole lot on this driving camera, but there's nothing I can do about it. A lot of people don't realize how close together these are. I'm measuring the distance right now. Yeah, basically the speed limit's 45. I mean, they'll give tickets for 51, 52 mile an hour across here. I got it set on 48, so I'm just... back in Lake City here on Highway 62, going back by the Pelican. To the left is it used to be Reed, but now it's Vulcan. Vulcan owns it's a great big limestone quarry there. Right down here is a Fisherman's Friend tackle shop, and you definitely, if you fish at all, you definitely want to go into the Fisherman's Friends Ken's TBC store. They manufacture fishing equipment in there, lures, sinkers. They got treble hooks they got treble hooks for snagging, like the snagging's legal below Kentucky Dam. I'm not sure. Oh, that guy's hauling asphalt. I don't know what these people want. These are people acting really weird behind me. Just let them go. That truck. So earlier we were right back here to the right. That's where we first visited Barkley Dam at. Now we're going over the Cumberland River Bridge. This bridge was built about 1960. And before this bridge was built, you actually had to use a ferry boat to get across here. The ferry wasn't here, but so we're going over the Cumberland River right now. Right here is the entrance to Barkley Dam. We'll turn right into here. And they have a big, like, 1.2 mile loop right here. It's flat. It's a good place to walk and ride your bike. You can come over here and just make all the loops you want. And we're going to make the loop today. We'll conclude this video on the loop. Right. We're going to stop by the... Well, we're starting the loop. We're going to be doing the loop while we look around down here. First stop is the boat ramp. Look at these curbs up on this boat ramp, man. You could easily mess up some wheels on these curbs they got. You can tell how much the water's dropped by the water ring. The water, the riprap over there is still wet, about 4 foot up. The boat ramp is right there. And it's gonna be hard to see down there because of the camera angle. But you pull around here like this, and you pull up right here, then you back down the ramp. Life jackets must be worn from the boat ramp to the dam. You got to have it on. And there's another one of those restricted signs for the Asian carp behind the lock wall. And I can almost guess what they're doing right there. That's how Asian carp, when they open that up for a barge to come in there, Asian carp will swim into the lock walls, and then when they open it up, they'll swim into the lake when they open it up again. And up on the river, on the Illinois River, they've got a bunch of electrical shocks. They shock fish to keep the Asian carp out of Lake Michigan. And I bet you they're shocking fish over there behind that wall to deter them from going into that lock when the lock wall's open. There's another little nice parking spot right here. This is a wonderful place. In the summertime or in the springtime, you can go down here and just fish off the rocks, and there's no telling what you'll catch. There's usually a lot of fish down here, especially if you're wanting to bluegill fish or crappie fish or something. They're usually about 6 foot deep. You know, they're 5 or 10 foot off of the rocks. All right. And his is the parking lot closest to Barkley Dam. And one thing that's gotten really big is people like to shoot Asian carp with their bows. And Department of Wildlife was selling so many fishing licenses, those people, that they actually built a walkway to go up to the dam to where most of these fish are at. And I'm ready to make you a video. Showing you where this is. All right, we're on the east side of Barkley Dam. We're going to get out and make a video. Yeah, and when you catch or kill an Asian carp, you're not allowed to put it back in the water. But these right here are actually spoonbill paddlefish carcasses. That's the bill right there off of a paddlefish, a spoonbill. It's really neat. Look at the webbing in there. Aren't they just made really cool? Look at that. All right. This is the new sidewalk they made. Check this out. Yep, this is the new sidewalk they made. And you can walk all the way up here, right below the dam to right there. And you can shoot Asian carp with your bow and arrow, or you can just fish off of there. Barkley Dam has 4 turbines, and that up there where it says Barkley Dam, that is their crane that can service the 4 turbines. Like, they could pull the impellers out with that crane and work on everything. There's their transformer station and some of their power lines where it all leaves. Man, they got the power lines, and their spillways are different. The water, these don't have to have cranes to open them. They just, somehow they open by themselves, and the water flows under these spillways instead of over, like over there. And there's also a wall here, and you can go out there in your boat, and a lot of people have drove holes with, they have hammered holes out there, and you can put a screwdriver in one of them holes, and you can tie your boat to it. You know, at your own risk, of course. And looks like we got 2 boats out here fishing. Yeah. And you can almost always come down here with a jig and walk down here to the water, and you can catch skipjacks and white bass and rock bass, hybrid bass, just about anything you want. Yeah, and over there where that white truck is, we were in that parking lot right after we left Grand Rivers earlier in the video. So that about does it for the tour of Grand Rivers, LbL, the canal, Kentucky Barkley Lake. There's all kinds of picnic tables and awnings. Like if you want to come down here and have a family reunion, they're ready. There's my truck again. All right, I'm gonna get back in my truck. We're gonna finish that loop for bike riding. That's part of it right there. And we'll finish the video in the pickup truck, and we'll talk to you in a moment. All right, we're pulling out of our last stop on this tour here. We're leaving Barkley Dam, and we're going to finish this bicycle walking loop. When you come out of here, you just turn right. And if anybody's made it to this long in this video, hey, I appreciate your time. I certainly enjoy making videos. And I should keep on making videos for a long time, hopefully. And it's nice to be at home. I lived here for 45 years. And I moved away. First, I went to North Dakota, worked in oil fields. Then I landed a job in Moundsville, West Virginia. And I went up there and worked a long time. And then I moved back home for a year or so. Then I moved back to the oil fields. I moved to Weirton, West Virginia, and I've been in Weirton, West Virginia since October of 14. So it'll be 12 years in October of 26. All right. There's where we first turned in, and we seen that boat coming out of there. So this loop here is a little over a mile long. Come down here and do all the walking you want. Well, this concludes the video. And if you're interested in Patty's Restaurant, Grand Rivers, Kentucky Lake, Barkley Lake, Barkley Dam, Kentucky Dam, Tennessee River, Cumberland River, LbL, Canal, this was the video for you. We will talk to you later.